I am Anastacia of Astora.
In this video, I'm going to briefly discuss what possibly went down between Anastacia of Astora and Knight Lautrec of Carim. I'll first jog your memory on exactly how the situation plays out, or rather, how the game forces us to perceive the situation. We leave the Undead Asylum and arrive in Firelink Shrine, where our adventure first unfolds. Now, many of us would have chosen to explore, unaware at this time that the path ahead is the stairs leading to Undead Burg. We go to the shallow water where Frampt eventually pops out of. We go to the cemetery. And we also go down the stairs that leads to New Londo ruins. We are met with an uncomfortable encounter. There is a woman here, caged, with her tongue removed. Speaking to her results in a prompt appearing, notifying you that she cannot speak. We don't yet know that her tongue is removed, and we have yet to learn that this is the Firekeeper for Firelink Shrine's bonfire, Anastacia of Astora. The name Astora means nothing to us yet, but we'll stick a pin in that. I will say that she's not the first person from Astora we've met at this point in the game, actually. We can't really do much of anything with her right now, so we put the disturbing encounter behind us and move on. We will eventually head to Undead Burg, and along the way to Undead Parish, we will encounter two more individuals that hail from Astora.
Ah, hello. You don't look hollow, far from it. I am Solaire of Astora, an adherent of the Lord of Sunlight.
Well, you must be a new arrival. I'm Andre of Astora.
Once again, we will touch on that a little later. Heading into the Undead Parish Cathedral, we will find a Firekeeper soul to our right, and just upstairs is the first time we encounter Knight Lautrec of Carim. Now, I don't really think that the Firekeeper soul downstairs is Lautrec's doing or anything. I just wanted to point out some subtle foreshadowing. When we speak to Lautrec, he says this.
Oh, still human, are you? Then I am in luck. Could you help me? As you can see, I am stuck without recourse. Please, I have duties to fulfill, and I will reward you handsomely. Well, I am certain you stand to benefit.
Once you free him, the dialogue goes like this.
Thank you. Yes, sincerely. I am Knight Lautrec of Carim. I truly appreciate this, and I guarantee a reward. Only later. Yes, very sorry. Your reward will have to wait. I have just been freed. Allow me some time. I am free. Now, I can get back to work.
This is our only hint that Lautrec is up to something. If you choose not to free him, after ringing the first bell behind the gargoyles, he escapes anyway. After ringing the second bell down in Blighttown, Lautrec makes his move. He didn't have access to Sen's Fortress before this, after all. We return to Firelink Shrine to find Anastacia dead, her Firekeeper soul looted, and her clothing stained with blood. We are left with a black eye orb, and at this point, we're destined to find and kill Lautrec for ruining our Firelink Shrine and killing our Firekeeper. Off to Anor Londo we go with a heavy heart and one more mission in mind. So, before we dive straight into the theory, and you're left asking questions, I'll give you some helpful information that pretty much allowed me to form this idea. How the hell did Lautrec escape if you don't free him? So here's a fresh take, one that I haven't heard anywhere else. I just sort of put the pieces together while looking at the situation. Lautrec escapes after the first bell is rung. Oswald arrives only after the first bell is rung. Knight Lautrec is from Carim. Oswald is from Carim. Oswald does not exactly care about fulfilling the undead prophecy. He instead serves the goddess Velka. This is a very interesting point in this theory because Velka, being a part of the Anor Londo gods pantheon, abandoned on Orlando when the Nameless King was dethroned, just like everyone else. I think, however, she was no longer convinced of Gwyn's rule or judgment after this. She collaborated with Gwendolyn and his Blades of the Dark Moon, but she also spread her influence inside of the painted world of Ariamis. Now, the big head honcho of the painted world is Priscilla, who is feared by the gods of Orlando and treated as an abomination. I don't think it would be too much of an exaggeration to say that Velka was subtly watching over and also protecting Priscilla from the other gods. All of this is to say, I'm pretty sure Oswald is the one that let Lautrec out of his cell on his way up to the bell where we first encounter him. This is because he, like Lautrec, isn't too interested in the chosen undead prophecy, but instead serving his own god or goddess. It could also be that they're just like Carim bros, but I think this makes a bit more sense. The goddess Fina. The goddess Fina is one of the members of Gwyn's clan who resided in Orlando during the Age of Fire. She was worshipped by humans and was known for possessing a fateful beauty. Her love, protection, and favor were all as fickle as the weather. Her blessed rings reflect this, as they break beyond repair if they are ever taken off. Once the Nameless King was dethroned and exiled, she left Orlando. With that in mind, most of the other deities left as well. While some theorize that Fina and Guinevere are one and the same, we may never really know. I do think this is not entirely baseless, however, because Lautrec moves as though he is compelled by something. We, the players, come to find out that there are no gods left in this land aside from Gwendolyn and the hollow Gwyn inside the kiln of the First Flame. Now, Lautrec is down bad. He's down horrendous for the goddess Fina. His armor literally shows that the arms of the goddess are embracing him at all times. Who is to say that he's not being compelled by the illusion of Guinevere in some way, shape, or form? After all, Orlando is a big place, yet when we hunt him down, look at where we find him. We find him at the doorstep of Guinevere's abode. That's all I can really say. Everything is still shrouded in a mysterious fog. What is a firekeeper and what is their duty? To answer this question, I'll first say this. As the First Flame naturally began to fade away, announcing an age of dark, Gwyn, Lord of Sunlight, the ruler of the gods of Orlando, became the first to link the First Flame, sacrificing himself to become a Lord of Cinder and prolong the First Flame by rekindling it anew. He handed down the power of the sun to his children and his throne to his firstborn son, and either following Gwyn's instructions or of their own volition, the gods of Orlando would devise a prophecy so that one day, another would amass power similar to that of Gwyn, reach the First Flame, and link it to further prolong the Age of Fire. What does that have to do with a firekeeper and their duty? Well, firekeepers are typically young women who tend to bonfires, acting as guides and caretakers for the undead. They played a crucial role in the fulfilling of this prophecy, as there would be no bonfires without any firekeepers. Pardon my language for breaking the immersion here, but bonfires are basically save points to us, the player, and those in Lordran as well. Perhaps most crucial amongst all bonfires was the Firelink Shrine, an entry point to Lordran for undead seeking to fulfill the prophecy, and a pivotal crossroads leading into various areas key to their quest. Also, for those who were truly listening, I said firekeepers are typically young women simply because the old hags from the Things Betwixt in Darksouls 2 are still considered firekeepers despite their age, but I think we can assume they were initiated at a young age. Why? Why can we assume they were initiated at a young age? Well, here's the thing. Aside from the fact that all of the firekeepers we've met across all the games are young, we actually met a soon-to-be firekeeper, but that's a little bit ahead of this timeline. In the future. Irina of Carim, Dark Souls 3. She was found in the undead settlement, imprisoned in a cell that was guarded by Aegon of Carim. Does this sound like a familiar scenario yet? Well, wait a second. We're getting there. Irina was a nun in her homeland, Carim. She came to Lautrec with the aim of becoming a firekeeper. However, at the poor state that the Champion of Ash encountered her when freeing her from prison, she had no other option than to accept that she was unfit to tend the flames. Instead, she offered to aid her savior by teaching miracles in Firelink Shrine. Since she is blind, she perceives the world only with her tact. The player can bring her miracle tomes written in Braille for her to learn new miracles, which she may then teach the player in return. Now, it's not the first time we've seen a firekeeper disfigured in some way, but this time there's actually a known reason, possibly, for her being blind. At a certain point before the events of Dark Souls 3, the first flame began to fade, which naturally occurs at the end of every renewed Age of Fire. The first firekeeper in Lautrec's history had a vision about the end of the Age of Fire and the beginning of the Age of Dark. Ludleth, the half-man we find when we arrive to Firelink Shrine, is an exile from the Kingdom of Corland and a future Lord of Cinder. He worked with Lautrec to ensure that all firekeepers to come would be deprived of their eyes to prevent them from observing a future without the first flame. The original eyes were hidden in a version of Lautrec's Firelink Shrine in a distant time. The Astora name. Now, there's one last piece of the puzzle that I pondered for longer than I'm willing to admit. We stuck a pin in it earlier, remember? Anastasia's homeland, Astora. When they talk about Astora, everyone is burning with some degree of passion. Oscar, the first Astora that we met, wholeheartedly believing that the chosen undead would be found in the undead asylum, spent his days freeing prisoners. Andre, dedicating his body and soul to the task of empowering weapons for the various undead that are seeking to fulfill the prophecy. Solaire, who is so inspired by Gwyn's legend that he has come to Lordran to pursue his own son, however vague that might be. Lastly, there's Anastacia. She was likely not born to be a firekeeper, but rather raised as a nun, judging by her clothing. Just like Irina of Carim. And maybe she was sent to Lordran, or maybe she came on her own to aid the brave adventurers of Astora however she could. Being a firekeeper likely just happened to be the final destination. Now for my theory. At last we've arrived here. I suspect that Anastacia, like every other individual from Astora that we find, was inspired or likely indoctrinated about the chosen undead prophecy. They all wished for the Age of Fire to continue, the flame linked, the undead curse broken, and life beginning anew. Anastacia is a victim, yes, that much we've known all along. A victim to what though? Lautrec's seemingly senseless murder, having her tongue removed for saying something she shouldn't have? What else would her tongue have been removed for, if not saying something that contradicts or disagrees with the chosen undead prophecy? She was not killed, no. Whoever took her tongue naturally wanted the bonfire to remain kindled. She was silenced for expressing any doubts towards the mission. I believe that Anastacia was forced to interact with Lautrec, albeit in a limited manner. Lautrec was likely doing most of the talking, of course. He understood her importance, no doubt about it. Anybody that could make it to Anor Londo is no pushover. Why kill her? Was it just for her firekeeper soul, or was there more to it? The conversation could have gone something like this.
A firekeeper, eh? You've your tongue cut out, stuffed into a cage and made a slave to the fire. Even a prisoner like myself was given much more. Comfortable conditions. I won't ask you to speak truthfully because, well, you can't. I'll ask a series of yes or no questions. You chose to become a firekeeper of your own volition, yes? You desire to see the undead prophecy fulfilled and the Age of Fire flourish once more, yes? Tell me, is this dingy cave that you're locked in nearly as illustrious as you imagined a firekeeper's abode would be? Have you never once questioned why countless undead are sent to their hollowing demise, chasing the echoing wish from the gods that have either perished or left this land? My goddess Fina, too, has no desire to see the age of the old gods continued. Incidentally, I could have sworn that I heard a bell not too long ago. The path to the city of the gods has opened, and I must go. My goddess awaits me. It feels good, you know. I can meet my goddess. But you? You're here, alone, unable to speak. No different from a caged bird. The beliefs that brought you to this land have waned, and I'm sure you want nothing more than to go home. You can't, though, can you? Your people would surely scorn you if you abandoned your duty, and you're no longer able to lead a normal life now that you're a mute. I can help you, unlike everyone else. I can liberate you from this pitiful existence. Goodbye, little firekeeper. You did your job well. Your soul will make a fine gift. I hope you don't mind. Your suffering ends here.
And so that's just how I kind of imagined it went. The reason Anastacia thanks you after bringing her back to life is because while she had her doubts, she was likely more on the fence about everything, whereas Lautrec was fully against the Age of Fire. Not to mention that once you place the Lord Vessel, she thanks you once more for agreeing to link the flame. The fear of the unknown, the fear of the Age of Dark, likely haunts her mind. Even more than the Age of Dark, however, she fears being unable to die as a human being. The idea of going hollow and wandering Lordran forever troubles her deeply, so much that this fate of hers isn't so bad in the grand scheme of things. She can stay here, where it's mostly safe, guiding the ones who truly face the danger into Lordran. Most of all, she gets to speak to us, the chosen undead that wasn't ever actually supposed to exist. She gets to thank us, and she gets to receive peace knowing that we rang both bells, killed Lautrec, and had the kindness to revive her, even if it was just for the bonfire. For the first time since arriving in Lordran, despite being powerless, she now has hope. She knows that the Age of Fire will continue, all because of us. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of you, and remember, don't you dare go hollow.